So what are 5 things we got to see from your San Antonio Spurs with training camp starting, tomorrow?
You are Locked On Spurs, your daily San Antonio Spurs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Happy Monday. Welcome back to Locked On Spurs, radio of the Locked On NBA Network. I'm your host, Jeff Garcia, Spurs writer for KENS 5 San Antonio. Hope you had a great weekend. As always, we thank y'all for making Locked On Spurs your number one spot for all things silver and black. Don't forget to subscribe. You know what to do, right? Go subscribe right now over there in iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, KENS 5 Plus app. So many ways to get Locked On Spurs. Do that right now. You guys are the everydayers. Keep on being those everydayers with the season starting in a few weeks. I know it's crazy, right? We're already here. Feels like I could swear the Thunder just won the title yesterday. It's what it feels like. There is no slowing down in the NBA, huh? There is no offseason. So what are we talking about today? Well, with training camp starting tomorrow, we're going to look at 5 things that we got to see, or at least interested in watching as the training camp unfolds and preseason gets going. So what are 5 things we got to check out from my picks to our guest picks? We've got some pretty good things we got to check out. Also, if time permitting, make that very clear. If we have time, we'll get into some fan comments you guys are leaving the Locked On Spurs fan page. By the way, thank you everybody for the nice compliments regarding the recent Project Marvel update. Looks like y'all appreciated bringing somebody from the anti-Project Marvel side. Just a heads up, we will have more Project Marvel coverage leading up to the elections. Just a heads up too. That around that time, early voting in November, it's going to get wild in San Antonio, but we'll say that for later. Let's go bring in our guest. He is back, everybody, to help me out on a Monday. He is Casey Vieira with Raiders Digest. Go on YouTube, subscribe to that show, and he'll brag about it in just a few seconds. And follow him on X at Casey_Vieira. Casey, what's up, buddy?
How admirable of you being a fair and balanced middle ground, not calling it right down the middle. Such deep journalistic integrity.
Look at that. Yeah, journalistic integrity from somebody who talks about nerdy stuff every day, right?
I was going to say journalistic integrity from the guy who does the show that's about the Spurs.
Yeah, exactly.
I say that tongue in cheek, but it's true. I'm sure.
Right,
yeah, I mean, it's easy to assume that there are. I'm sure there are more pro-Project Marvel listeners to this program than not. But there are Project Marvel listeners that are Spurs listeners, Locked On Spurs listeners that are probably against it.
Yeah.
I say that tongue in cheek, but that's actually, it's important. So
yeah. Actually, there are those that are Locked On Spurs fans that are against it. And so if y'all want to go to the YouTube page right now, go check it out. Those people, they left some comments. So go check it out right now.
I think being tied under that KENS 5 umbrella too. It's
bingo. That's it. That's the clinging on to.
And again, if you want to be a fair and respectable outlet, regardless, you have to do it. And I think being tied to a media outlet as well is kind of
But
yes, good job.
Yeah, exactly. But I was going to tell you, is it kind of weird? It's like I'm talking to you right now on the show, but right now we're actually together at the Victory Capital Plaza.
We are.
Isn't that weird?
We are. We're inseparable.
By the way, Media Day is today. Just a heads up.
What's the thing Joker said to Batman at Dark Knight? We're destined to lose forever, something like that.
Yes. He goes. I got a feeling weird. Just be there together all the time.
The interrogation room, right?
Yeah. Well, actually, he was hanging upside down.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
He was hanging upside down when he told him that. But today is actually as well Media Day for your Silver and Black. Right now, Casey and I are there right now. So we're taking care of that right now. We'll have a full, complete update / report, including a player interview. Yeah, I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag yet from Media Day. So look forward to that, I believe, either tomorrow or Wednesday. Either way, we'll get that to you. But today, we're talking about training camp, which starts tomorrow. And there's so many questions regarding the camp. Is Wemby fully healthy? All signs are pointing to yes. What about Fox? Is he fully healthy? Again, all signs are pointing to yes. Of course, got the new blood in there, from Carter Bryant not Dylan Harper. He's out. But nevertheless, this is the first chance we're going to get to see this Silver and Black team start their first steps coming together ahead of the regular season. But what are some things we got to look out for, or at least we're interested in watching? So we're going to pick 5 things. Casey's the guest, so he's going to get the last pick. But I'll start things off, Casey.
Shouldn't it be the other way around?
Hey, if you want to give me a third pick, I'm fine with that.
I'm taking time out of my busy schedule. I could be, again, we're recording this ahead of the Raiders game Sunday, so I could either be recording some very juicy content after a Raiders win or after a Raiders loss.
So you want all that picks.
Go ahead.
You want all the 5 things, right? You want to get greedy. Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, how about this? I'll meet you in the middle. I'll pick 2, you get 3. How's that? Is that fair? You get 1.
No. You have your flow. If you have 3, you're going for. It's an impassioned stance that you have. I don't want to get in the way of that. So you hit me with 3. I'll follow up with 2, and then how about this? If I'm still feeling good and we don't hit on enough, and I have enough time, and I just want to supersede the fans' comments because it's all about me and not the fans, then I'll give you a 3rd.
All right. Look how generous
I'll stick to your 2. Give me your 3, and then I'll go to 2. Go ahead.
Okay. So here's my first one. I think this is the kind of the obvious one, but it's still intriguing to watch, and that is the Fox-Wemby tandem there. We'll finally get to see them have a full training camp together, a full preseason together, not that short, abrupt sample size we got before Fox was shelved last season because of a finger injury. But I think this is really important because this is the guy, Fox, that this team invested in, making the deal, giving him that extension. This is the co-star that Wemby needed. There he is, veteran, all-star, guy can score, break down defenses. He does it all. But we got to see if this works. It's a very small sample size we got last season. Now we're going to have a greater sample size. All signs are pointing that it will work, but we've heard it before, especially early in Wemby's career, or I should say new guys that come into the system. What do they say, Casey? It takes time for us to get used to playing with that kind of player. So that's number 1 on my list, the Fox-Wemby combo. What do you think?
I think that's for sure. That's got to be one of the most paramount things that we're going to see, if not the most important thing to figure out. The sample size was pretty good that we saw last year, but that's what it was. It was a sample size. It was a percentage, very tiny percentage of what a full season is. And that continuity is going to have to be there. That step is going to have to be there in order for them to keep moving forward. And it does start with a full training camp. And then by the time we do, I do think either way, it is going to take time. I think going into the season beyond training camp, when they're both on the floor together, I do think that there is going to be a window. Fortunately, they're in a spot right now where they do have a favorable schedule coming up in the first.
For sure.
Yeah, in the first 10, 12 games of the year, probably more so 10, that they can, along the way, if there are some bumps along the way, there are some games that they're not going to be at the expense of losing. They'll lose at the expense, you know what I mean, at the expense of getting that traction going on with the 2 of them, because when you get to the real heavy hitters in this league, you're going to have to be on your P's and Q's, and that moment of trying to find that fluidity is not going to be there. So that having that little bit of that favorable schedule at the start of the year helps, but it's going to go beyond that. I'm not telling anyone they don't already know that. This is the engine of the team.
Oh yeah.
Idea. We have a small idea that it's going to work, but there is a whole lot of unproven. If you take off the Spurs Fiesta color goggles and you're just being real here, there's a whole lot that we don't know with 2 of them. We have a good feel about it because there's been more positive suggested than negative, but that's all it is, just a percentage. Right. We don't know what the rest of it entails. So yeah, I think for sure that's probably the biggest thing out of camp.
Yeah, because this is their foundational pieces. You can argue maybe Castle's a part of that, but again, if this is actually the 2 solid foundational pieces, they got to work. Yeah, this team wants to go beyond regular season, postseason, and deeper in the playoffs. So you got to see if the 2 pistons in the engine are firing at the same time. They understand each other. The chemistry is there. So that's something I'm looking forward to seeing develop in training camp. Number 2 on my list, Casey, will there be an emerging sniper? This is something that the Spurs lack right now. On paper, they got adequate distance shooters, from Champagny to Barnes to Vassell. Throw in Wemby as well. He definitely loves taking those 3 shots, and he can make them from time to time. But
gets a little ambitious at times if we're being.
Yeah, it's a little ambitious. Yeah. But nevertheless, if you're going to look at the roster as a whole, that is probably one of the holes in the roster, is that sniper, that guy. He's planted in the corner 3. Give it to him, and chances are high that that guy's going to make it. Or even doesn't have to be the corner 3; it could be anywhere on the arc. Kick it out to him. It's money. They don't have that Luke Kennard, or past them, the Matt Bonners or the corner 3 shooter Bruce Bowen. They don't have that guy. So will there be an emerging sniper? All signs are pointing to Champagny as the obvious guy, maybe Barnes. But for sniper concerns, could the wild card, the dark horse, be Steph Castle? He's been working hard on his outside game. He's been showing that off this off season, working with the guard whisperer. And there was one video clip where he had like at least 10 or more threes in a row that he made. So maybe he could be the emerging guy. So I'm interested in that. Will a sniper, who knows? What if it's freaking David Jones Garcia? It's a sniper. I don't know. I just want to see if somebody's going to step up their game in that department. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I think that's reasonable to assume. I'm pessimistic on the matter. I don't think they have one, but I can call it on this show. I've gone on the show and I've articulated that beforehand. I think they're void of that, and I think that's something that's going to hurt them. And pivotal times, we've seen it already over the past few years. It's hurt them. That not having a consistent 3 and D guy. I mean, McDermott at times, we know, had that, but McDermott was a big liability on the defensive end and played him off the floor. Listen, that man right there, in all actuality, is probably going to be set up in a position more so this year where they're going to be reliable on that catch and shoot.
Yeah, I hope so.
For sure. And I know we'll see. Obviously we don't have the percentages handy, so it's tough to attribute, but we don't really know Devin Vassell as much of a catch and shooter up to this and shoot 3-point shooter up to this point. That's not something we associate. Maybe the numbers would suggest differently, but that's not something we necessarily associated with his game. It's more so put the ball in his hands and try to let him create for himself. If you want to look in terms of guys who are getting the reps, the opportunities to do that, that's probably the one who's going to be getting first crack at it.
Yeah.
Because the opportunities to create, especially when Harper gets healthy, they're not going to be as plentiful. The ball's not going to be in his hands as much.
Absolutely.
It's just not. It's not going to be in his hands. So it's going to be, reliant on him to maximize those catch and shoot opportunities. If he doesn't, if you look beyond that, yeah, you're probably the likes of the Champagny types. You're the likes of Harrison Barnes.
Yeah.
And then I'm not. I of course I'm a big fan of Stephon Castle, but I am not sold yet. I'm the type that everyone looks good in the Chris Brickley videos.
Yeah.
Everyone looks good at the runs at what's the gym in New York. Brickley owns that gym too, right?
Yeah,
either way,
either way.
I'm drawing a blank on the name of the gym. Everyone looks good in those. So
I know what you're talking about. It's on the east side.
Yeah, that one. I'm not sold on those videos. As far as I'm concerned, if you're in the off season and you're not being guarded by anyone, and all that's in there is you and a trainer and maybe a guy who's 5'9" and sticking your hand in your face, you should be knocking down. Yeah. So I'm never really baited by those. Like, the encouraging thing you take out of it is that there's a guy in the gym, that your guy is working out in the gym. Like, okay, you like that. He's working up a sweat, better than him sitting at home watching baseball, eating all summer. But I'm not totally sold that Stephon Castle is going to be that guy that they're dependent on. But there you go. I was talking about the Vassell side of things, being a catch and shooter. That's going to be something. Those opportunities theoretically would be there for Stephon Castle too, to, if he is able to take the next step, at least get closer to average.
Yeah.
And he wasn't doing that. Even if he gets closer to average, hitting 3 more a game, 3.5 more a game to what the percentage would be. I mean, that's pretty good. You take that. because you're not relying on him to be your number one scorer, but capitalize and be more efficient in his opportunities. But if you're looking on him becoming a sniper, I don't anticipate that. I think the first real guy to get tasked with that is probably Vassell. After that, I don't know if that's if it's a good conversation to have though, because it's not him.
Mm-hmm.
You're not totally sold that that they have that option. Yeah, is that something that they have to address down the road during the season?
Yeah, we shall see. Hey, we're not done talking about this topic. Things that we got to see from training camp when we get back. I'll give you my third because Casey was generous to give me a pick back. So I'll give you my third. Then you got to watch. Then we'll hear what Casey has to say. What are his 2 picks? Or these 2 things that he wants to see in training camp. That's coming up next right here on Locked On Spurs.
Hey, let's talk about 5-Hour Energy. Caffeine just got a flavor upgrade. 5-Hour Energy shots deliver tasty caffeine in 17 bold flavors. Each 2-ounce shot packs the caffeine with a premium 12-ounce cup of coffee, plus B vitamins and nutrients with 0 sugars, 0 crashes. What I love most is how portable they are. Big taste, tiny shot. You can take it in whenever you need that boost and when you need it. Hey, you know what? Why don't you find your favorite flavor? What if it's original? What if it's a berry? There's so many flavors to choose from. You'll have your favorite flavor in no time. And here's the thing about 5-Hour Energy Shot. It kicks in fast, sugar-free. You don't have to worry about crashing later. Enough with boring, flavorless caffeine. It's time to give your caffeine a flavor upgrade with 5-Hour Energy Shots. Get the favorites you love and be bold and try something new in-store and online at www.5hourenergy.com or Amazon today.
We're back right here on Locked On Spurs, joined by Casey Vieira with Raiders Digest. He'll be talking about that show and how you can subscribe to it right now in just a few minutes. So during the break, Casey, you were talking about Devin Vassell, and before the break, I should say, Devin Vassell catch and shoot numbers and whatnot. Here we go. Devin Vassell ranks in the 87th percentile for points per catch and shoot jump shot. Yeah. So here we go. Interesting. I never knew that.
Yeah.
I wonder where he gets his reputation then.
It's been a weird team the past few years, man.
Real quick. And then in the 24-25 season, 38% on catch and shoot 3-pointers. Interesting. Yeah. It could be the Wemby effect.
You take 38. That's a reasonable number.
That's a reasonable number. Yeah, sir. Yeah. If he could just step up that department just 2%, get it 40, I'd be very, very happy.
Well, and then you think about it a little bit more. Is the catch and shoot part for him is probably more beneficial consistency just because of how streaky he is. At times.
No, that's the key right there.
Honestly, getting fewer shots, but better looks, more opportunities. I don't want to say addition by, I'm not bright enough to think of another term here, but I guess kind of addition by subtraction in that sense, giving him fewer opportunities to create his own shot, but instead having the focus turned to his ability to knock down, a catch and shoot 3. That, in many respects, could help everybody all around.
Absolutely.
Bring out the more efficient part in him. It fits better at the offense. So that's good. I'm glad you have the numbers on the fly.
Yeah.
And you know what? It puts more credibility in the conversation, but we'll see.
Yeah, exactly. But you hit the big word there, consistency. Because recall last season, remember when he hit that rut? Like he was coming off an amazing game, and then he would rarely come out for post conference chats, even if they won. He had a bad night, and then when he finally came out, he was asked about it, like what's going on, and he just said he got to work out of it. So
I looked at him, I was like, this dude is like J.R. Smith with manners, man.
All right, what's the third thing that? Go ahead.
Remember J.R. man, J.R. He just. I mean, when J.R. Smith was cooking, dude, he was like, that's good. He was as good as anyone. Yeah. Oh, he was not.
He was bad. Also, does he know which end of the court you're supposed to score on when your team has the ball? Remember that? thing.
At least, you know what, man? At least if the Cavaliers didn't get a championship out of that window with him, the conversation of that meme would be a whole lot heavier. Instead, it's just the meme.
Exactly.
It's just the meme. I know they didn't win that finals, but the fact that they did win a finals, and I think in the grand scheme of basketball, they kind of looked past that because the Cavs, even though they would have won that game, they were not going to beat Golden State in that series.
They weren't. Yeah. Well, all right. So what is the third thing that I am looking out for in training camp? And it's a big one. Mitch Johnson. How will he implement his style? How will he implement kind of a new blood vibe into this team? Gone is Popovich. The old guard is gone. He is now in the front office. This is Mitch's team. Maybe he could have injected some of his personality, his needs, what he wants to see out of this team last season. But remember, he was interim head coach, and he openly admitted that Pop was still in his ear, coaching him, telling him what to do on the court, et cetera, et cetera. The training wheels are off. It's his team now. We saw the official torch passing when he was announced full-time head coach. This is his team. What will he be expecting on the offensive side, the defensive side, from the bench, from his own coaching staff? He has a heck of a coaching staff, bringing in Sweeney and Williamson. That's two great assistant coaches, but it's still his team, Casey. I got to see Mitch era begin and how it's going to begin. Something tells me we might see something radically different from the Pop era. What do you think?
Radically? No.
I think so. I think it will.
You think radically different?
Yes. Remember Pop?
Why do you say radically?
Okay. Remember, Pop kind of eased up on that towards the end of his time. But what was he known for? Unless you're drafted top 10, he ain't playing. You're going to the G League. You're in the bench. You know, he never deferred to rookies. I can see Mitch saying, hey, Carter Bryant, get out there. Hey, Dylan Harper, now that you're clear, get out there. I can see things like that happening. I can also see just him adapting more to this. I mean, not to say Pop didn't adapt, because he definitely did adapt. But, the rotations, how would that look differently? Pop, in crunch time situations, I get it. It's a smart move. You bring in your veterans. You bring in your Barnes. You bring in your Olenix, your Cornets. You throw them out there. But I can actually see Mitch saying, hey, young players like Castle and Harper, let me see what you got in this situation. I get to see little things like that, which is a big departure from what Pop may have done.
I largely, for the most part, I thought Mitch Johnson did a good job last year. I thought there were times where he showed a lot of inexperience. There were times rotationally where it showed that he was a guy who had only coached whatever juncture in the year it was, just only a handful of games throughout the season. The one that comes to mind is that loss that they had in Minnesota.
No, I remember that.
They needed it. Yeah, where they needed 3, and they set up a play for Sochan at the end. It was just like, why is Jeremy even on the floor right now? That it was. There were a few, enough to make this a conversation, at least in my mind. But I thought there was one hurdle that he was able to jump over that not a lot of new coaches are able to jump over. And he won over that locker room.
Yeah.
He won over that locker room early, and they were sold and they bought into everything. The analogy that, and of course, it's bad circumstances that he was able to take over.
Sure.
I say this with that in mind, not to sound callous or any insensitive or anything like that. But the only analogy that first week or so, they had that stretch where they rattled off 3 home wins.
I remember that. Yeah,
20 plus. It was they beat OKC in the cup game without Wemby. They beat Utah from 20 down, and then they beat the Warriors on that Saturday night game down like 20 again. And I was just looking at the team, and I'm looking at the energy, and I'm like, the only analogy that I can make around them of what the way they were, the way it was kind of being received under Mitch was that they looked like a group of guys who, a group of kids in a classroom when the teacher is out and always there.
Yeah.
It's not the substitute teacher that you walk all over.
Yeah.
That they roll in the TV, and I don't know they're past this, but this is more our age group. When they roll in the TV and you're just sitting there watching the movie to get through your hour of class, whatever. This was the sub that was there that they respected. It's a little bit of a different blood. The vibe's different because, again, I say this with no insensitivity intended.
Sure, I understand. Yeah.
Yeah. But you knew what you were getting with Pop, a little bit more regimented, a little bit more callous, understandably so. That's what he's known for. With Mitch Johnson, it just felt like there was a different vibe, energy. And the only thing I can compare it to was that sub that was there that comes in when the teacher's out.
Right.
And the kids are going to respect them. And the teacher doesn't mind when the teacher's out. They always want that sub coming in because they're not going to skip a beat. They do a good job. They know that they're not going to skip a beat. They're going to listen. Will the energy of not having the regular teacher around be there? Yeah, that'll be there. That's kind of inevitable. And it felt like that was the big hurdle that Mitch Johnson got over. I felt at the time when it came to the coaching search, because it was such a pivotal window of opportunity that was only there for the first time in 3 decades. I initially wanted Mike Malone for the job.
No, I remember that. Yeah. Yeah. It was a big name.
Because the name, championship caliber, one at the highest of levels with a team and offense centric around an all-world big man. I was like, it makes sense. Has Spurs ties, makes sense. But in time, the more I thought about it, after the Mitch Johnson, they elected to go the Mitch Johnson route and keep the normalcy and give him a full season. I'm like, you know what? The youth, the inexperience at the time, it makes sense. The Popovich thing, he's not entirely knowing what his status is going to be. Mitch Johnson, theoretically, from what they were telling us, he might have known from the jump that he was going to be the guy, but I'm just going by what they told us with Pops, whether you didn't know if he was coming back or not. He had to deal with that. There was a big in-season trade, which any coach trying to acclimate to all-star caliber players is tough. Then you lose, you're one of those all-stars with a life-threatening situation.
Yeah.
So, and that's out the world. That's just out of the picture altogether. Your other all-star with the season out of check bust his hand, or came, I guess, with a busted pinky. He's done after a dozen games. So you take the win-loss part of it out. The cautionary part for me at the end of the day with his first run was just the inexperience with getting out coached rotationally. But I think he jumped a big hurdle, and the fact that he's got that locker room works immensely into his favor, in my opinion. I think it's valid that he's one of the Vegas Coach of the Year favorites. He's probably not going to win it, but I think it's valid that he's one of the Coach of the Year favorites for a reason. And I think he was the right hire. But it is having that full training camp is there. Now, the excuses are not going to be there this year. There's a lot of things that we're saying right now. If he's getting lapped rotationally by some of these guys, I'm not talking about little tinkers. I'm talking, there were moments last year where he looked like he was just over his head. That can't happen this year. Especially with a full camp and knowing that the title is his. Those training wheels are off. But I think it was the right move in hindsight to keep him, and for the primary reason that the guys in that locker room believe. And that's the biggest thing you could ask for from the jump, and I think they do.
Absolutely, yeah. So, you got Mitch Johnson. He's going to spread his wings at least even further out with that interim label taken out. So that's something very interesting. What will the Mitch Johnson era look like from day one? Well, actually starting tomorrow. Training camp will be up tomorrow. Yeah. All right. Well, what are Casey's things that he's looking out for at training camp? Let's talk about that coming up next right here on Locked On Spurs.
The NFL season is here, and FanDuel is making sure you're ready for kickoff with a can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets used across the app. You'll love FanDuel because it just fits everything you need. You can build a same-game parlay, do player props, jump into live action as the action unfolds. Make every moment more exciting, whether you're watching your team or just keeping an eye on your fantasy lineup. Quick, easy, the best way to add a little more energy to Sundays. Cowboys have started their season. Texans are starting their season, so might as well jump on FanDuel right now. You ready to play? Download the FanDuel app right now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet.
We're back right here on Locked On Spurs, joined by Mr. Casey Vieira. He is the host of Raiders Digest. He's going to talk about that in just a few minutes and how you can subscribe, especially if you're a big Raiders fan. Hey, silver and black. I don't think Spurs fans have any or beef, or just San Antonio doesn't have any beef with the Raiders.
There's a few I know that. Yeah, I mean, I hopped on the Raiders train as a kid because of Madden, because I was nice with them in like 2001, 02, and then the fact that they got screwed by Brady, I was just like, okay, these are my guys, man.
All right.
So there's weird reasons that people hop on. So the silver and black thing makes sense.
Exactly. All right. So he'll brag about his show in just a few seconds. All right, Casey, you're up on deck. What are a couple things that you're going to be looking out for with training camp beginning tomorrow?
I think Sochan and Jeremy Sochan's involvement collectively. What is it? What is it? Where are we at now with him? Because a contract season that we're going into, there's a lot of pressure for him to find an identity with what's going on, with what he is. And the fact that we're at year 4 and we don't know that, not particularly encouraging in my mind. You know, some of the stuff not in favor. He was banged up. All the things that we were talking about, different roster changes in time, even the coaching staff being indecisive about what they want to do with him as a whole. And it showed not only last year, I think past 2-3 years, I think that in my mind has, you know, some of that's to the fault of his own, some of it not. But I think the Sochan part of it this year is pivotal because you're going to see a lot on this coaching staff. Mitch Johnson's going to determine this year how much, and again, this is conducive to Sochan doing his job, what the picture is, the long-term picture is for Jeremy in San Antonio. And we're going to get that idea of what he is, in my mind, this season. Going into a contract year, no more excuses about him being young. He is young, but there's a lot of his miscues that we attributed to him being a rookie second year. He's not that anymore. He's just not that. Does having a full roster in place, what you saw last year when they were healthy, all the guys who were on this team kind of fell into place with what they should be. Devin Vassell fell into the opportunity to be a third, fourth scorer, and he was playing well. Keldon Johnson fell into the opportunity to what he should have been as a pivotal bench piece, and he excelled. And probably, if you look at it reasonable lenses, had one of his better years. All considered in San Antonio. The numbers might not indicate it, but from in terms of point per game standpoint, but
he definitely was the most consistent Spur.
He was the most consistent, and I think that's because he was in a role that he was designed for. You're not going to win a lot of basketball games if Keldon Johnson, as we learned, Keldon Johnson is putting up 20 points a night, and you're a 22-win team, because that's you're not going to win a lot of basketball games doing that. But Keldon's in a role that he's excelled in right now, and credit to Keldon. I'll always have a huge respect for Keldon Johnson because he's such a company guy. He's such and I say that in the most endearing of terms. Doesn't complain about his role, has had his role moved around so many times, and all he's done is go out there and be a pro. And it gets to the point right now where he's in a spot where he doesn't get as much playing time. And what does he do? He goes out there and he's a pro. He's everything you should be. Doesn't duck media or anything like that. He's a pro. He's everything this team needs. But Jeremy Sochan, now we wonder if he's anything that the team needs. So I think for me, that's the first thing. The second thing, and I'm going to sound like a pessimist here.
There we go. You're going to be a pessimist? Here we go. Here we go. You're ready here. You're a Spurs fans ready. Here we go.
But I think it's a real conversation. Hit the boo. How many times you hit that usually when Jimenez is on? How many times the show do you think?
I think it's like, I just have it on loop in the background. Just have it on loop.
I should stop laughing because it's a serious matter.
Okay.
Are we really sure Wemby's healthy?
Ooh, interesting.
Please
go again.
Listen, it's true. This is an organization that sat him for a week because he stepped on a ball boy's foot. Are you telling me the man has a life-threatening condition and they're not going to bring him back until he's 150%?
Yeah.
I hope. Well, by the time this is posted and Wemby goes out there and we'll talk to him and he talks to the masses, I'm sure somebody, if I will, if somebody doesn't already, going to ask if he's going to be ready for opening night.
Yeah.
He said on his stream, but as we know, Wemby, he's a 21-year-old kid. Like, he's going to be confident in that he said that in his health, and understandably so, but he's going to say the right things because he believes in himself. Somebody asked if he'll be ready opening night. At the end of the day, that's not like his thing to determine, you know? What player is not going to want to play every single night? And so far, we haven't heard any confirmation that, with the exception of that, if you want to call that confirmation, fine. I don't. We haven't heard anything concrete. Yes, I'll be there. I'll be good opening night.
I mean, what do you consider concrete? The fact that he's actually playing full contact right now,
That's
right. Runs.
But, I mean, running layup lines at Duncan in front of kids out of middle school is different.
Oh no. They're in the gym. They're in. The Spurs have been releasing video from their voluntary practices. So,
but Drew had a decent idea of the full level of contact he's been taking.
That we don't. We just see highlights. We don't see if it's controlled.
That's what I mean. You know, like him and the team doing the charity showcase over there in the Hill Country. That's great to see, but it's not banging around with Şengün for 5 minutes, you know? I think we're certainly trending the right way for sure, but are there going to be any restrictions on him? Will he be ready for opening night? And I don't say that as like that's a negative, you know, it's tough to hear, but the dude had like a life-threatening condition potentially. I mean, this isn't him coming back. Like, this isn't Kawhi over here, you know? This is completely different. Kawhi and his bum quad's not going to die from it. Wemby, with his condition, if it's not treated to its 150%, his life's going to be threatened by it. It's apples and oranges. So, I mean, I'm hoping for the best. Nobody, Spurs fans, they don't want to hear that. But until you hear out of the Spurs' mouth that he will be ready opening night, he's going through a full training camp, and we'll have that answer by the time, in all likelihood, that listeners are listening to this. We'll get a better idea. But I think in my mind, there is still a level of skepticism right now because we haven't heard that.
Yeah, exactly. Well, but you're right, though. I mean, nevertheless, you know, there is his health. The Spurs and the fans have been dealing with Wemby and his health since almost from draft day, since that rookie season, you know, till last season, and now here we go, year 3. You know,
I think like the rookie year, you know, I talked about the ball boy. That rookie year,
that was a freak accident.
And they were going to, they know he's a multi-billion-dollar asset, face of the franchise. It's a rookie year that they were not anticipated to win 30 games. You know, if his knee was sore, staple to
if he had dry skin, they would have sent him at Sandown. If
your eczema was flaring up, you're
gotta sit him down.
Exactly. I take the rookie year with a grain of salt, and he's still qualified for all the accolades. So it's not like he sat half the season. I think one of my worst takes of all time. I was thinking about. We were talking about. So I was talking with somebody about Scoot Henderson.
Oh man,
and I think one of the
forgot about the guy kid.
I know. I thought Scoot Henderson. It was after they implemented the 65 game rule, because it was that first year after. I knew Wemby was going to be the better prospect. But the conversation was who's going to win Rookie of the Year between Wemby, Chet, Henderson. And I thought Henderson, because I thought Victor was going to be a victim of the 65 game rule. And I thought it was because the Spurs were going to be super cautious. So I thought Scoot was going to win Rookie of the Year. Obviously, it didn't happen. To be fair, I never just because I said that is not to suggest Scoot Henderson. I believed that Scoot Henderson was going to be a better player, but I did feel like I think we were talking about like the Vegas odds of it. And I was looking at it, I was like, man, I'm going to buy in on that Scoot Henderson number because of this 65 game rule.
Take them odds.
Well, that didn't work. Scoot Henderson doesn't look to start. And I don't even know if he's starting this year too.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, my other what if, and I think we'll have fun with this one, you know, because technically it's still the off season, you know, until regular season starts. But I want to have a what if show What if the Spurs fell to number 2 and drafted Scoot Henderson? Like how much? I mean, we know the answer is it's obvious they were nowhere near coming out of the rebuild. But
we're saying two things. They should have taken obviously Wemby off the table, but we're also saying they should have taken Brandon Miller.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. But even then, I mean, he had a decent season last year, but he hasn't really exploded on the scene.
Oh, and he was hurt.
So, he was hurt. Yeah. So we shall see.
I'll tell you one thing for sure. One thing for sure. What if would be. People wouldn't be fighting over Project Marvel right now because ain't no way that the Spurs were going to pitch that roster.
No way.
The city say we want you to in a healthy cut of your money to build a new downtown arena. There was no
Casey, I'm expecting him to go undefeated until the November elections.
Brandon Miller was not putting the taxpayers' money into that project.
No, nor is Scoot.
The new stadium. The newer arena downtown district, that plan was not going to see the light of day.
No.
They would have been paying people to show up at the Frost. They would have been paying people's tax money dollars back.
Yeah. At minimum, they'll be like, how about we just, give the Frost a facelift? We're good with that? I think that we'll be at that point.
That'll
happen. Yeah, exactly. He is Casey Vieira with Raiders Digest. No, might as well brag about your new baby there. Raiders Digest NFL show. What's cooking?
Hopefully the vibes are up by the time, because we're recording this ahead of the Bears game this weekend. So if it's a dub, you're checking in with some good vibes right now. If they lose, you want to check in anyway. The vibe's just going to be different.
It's okay. It's okay, Casey. I wasn't aware of this, but you went to the Bears, and I'm like, oh, never mind.
Tell you what, Tom Brady's the hot topic,
God,
right? The Tom Brady's and his Fox conflict of interest is a hot topic. It's just wild because I don't know what he's doing or what he's not doing with that. But
you did a show about that, didn't you?
I did a show. I've done a few. Yeah, Brady gets good engagement, so that's why we keep going back to it.
Yeah.
But it's just wild that last week. Or this week, they have the Bears. Who was he on the call for last week? Cowboys Bears.
Oh, Cowboys Bears. Yeah, sorry.
Cowboys Bears.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. But what I do know is if he is giving the Raiders intel, sure as hell's not working.
Not working at all.
And that's what, Antonio Pierce, coach last year, who they fired. That's what he was saying because he's now with CBS. And they were talking about that. I was watching. And he's saying, I know Brady's lying because he was telling us that last year. And I'm like, well, I don't know if that was something good to admit because even with him cheating and giving you information, the team still won 4 games. I don't know if that's a flex for you to go over here and acknowledge because even if he's one cheating, even if he wasn't cheating, or I should say, if he wasn't cheating, you might not have won a game, period.
Right. Yeah. If I'm Brady, I just kind of just keep it quiet now. If you're done with it, but see, that's where you got to go check out Raiders Digest.
Yeah, we've had a whole it's a real good conversation. Raiders Digest on YouTube, in my opinion, I thought it was good.
Yeah, go hit them up on YouTube. Hit that subscription button. Give Casey some love there, especially if you're or just an NFL fan. If you're an NFL fan, you want to take a break from Spurs talk, go see what Casey's cooking over at Raiders Digest. It's kind of weird though because I'm talking to you right now, but I'm also talking to you right now at the Victory Capital. So this is weird. This is odd.
We're probably recording the next Locked On. We're recording Tuesday's Locked On.
Yeah. We're recording. Yeah. I feel like the multiverses are colliding right now. Just everything's shifting right now. So we're breaking the time barrier here on Locked On Spurs. But as Casey mentioned, we'll be back tomorrow. Likely a report from Media Day. Maybe a player interview. We'll see. Stay tuned for that. And this week we'll have another weekly Project Marvel update. Got a great guest lined up for you for that talk coming up later this week here on Locked On Spurs. But tomorrow is probably going to be this guy you're seeing on the screen joining me again to talk silver and black. Casey, thanks again for taking time out of your busy schedule, your Raiders Digest schedule. We appreciate it. And thank you for giving me one extra pick today on the 5 picks. I really appreciate that. You're so kind.
That is your show.
You're so kind there. You're so kind. Everybody else, we thank y'all for making Locked On Spurs your first listen each and every day. Free and available where we get podcasts, iTunes, Spotify, Kiss, Plus, YouTube. Continue being the everydayers. Check out Locked On NBA. Go on YouTube, type in Locked On NBA, and then hit subscription, and you're good to go. So go do that right now. As I mentioned, we'll be back tomorrow. Casey will be joining me again. We'll have a report from Media Day and maybe a player interview, wink, wink. So we'll talk about that on tomorrow's show. But for Casey Vieira, I am Jeff Garcia. We're going to put a lock on this episode of Locked On Spurs.